What are sayings you grew up hearing only to find out they were unique to your family? Younger me: Dad, I don't want to walk downstairs at night. It's too dark. Dad, there's no monsters. We can't afford monsters. I might be related to your dad. Anytime my kids get scared of monsters / ghosts / aliens / volcanoes / etc., I just respond with, honey, do you have any idea what those things cost? As a kid, whenever I would say I don't know what to wear, my grandma would say put a raisin in your belly button and go as a cookie. This is super cute. I used to run a pub. I had to refuse to serve a rather inebriated young man. Rather than say you think you're the best thing since sliced bread, he actually said, you think you're a slice of bread. Since then, in our family, anytime one of us does something rather clever, we are accused of thinking we are a slice of bread. This is the greatest thing since cheese. My dad would tell us to cough it up. It could be a gold watch, if you were coughing. I never understand it. I guess it's a sort of, geez, get it out. Me: what are you doing? Dad: obviously just watching TV, I'm digging a hole. Teaching the Pope to play darts. So, you working on the computer there? No, I'm walking my dog. The term to disconcur, meaning to disagree. Tried using it once in a class and got some serious sideways looks. Teacher had to break it to me that it is not a valid word. Disconcur is a perfectly cromulent word, in my opinion. What time dark was something we would say to ask like the general question of when was like dinner and downtime. Turns out my parents were ass-face drunk on vacation in a different part of the world before me and my sister were born when my mom turned to my dad and proclaimed what time dark. Because she wanted to see the sunset but couldn't get the thoughts together. So from ages 1 to 16 I thought it was a common saying, and from 16 to 24 when my mom passed, every time she said something stupid we would just go, what time dark? They sound fun. It's nice that they incorporated a fond memory into your life. She was. It's one of my favorite memories of her. Every time my mom says something stupid we yell, but why could? Because she asked us that once in a moment of panic on a road trip. Hey, my parents, bro, and bro's husband went to Mexico together. My mom, bro, and brother-in-law attempted to go to the beach, but when they got there was a huge staircase leading down to it. My bro turned to the other two and asked what they thought. My mom, looking down the staircase, said, "That's a loada up." This has now become a regular saying whenever we encounter something that isn't worth the effort. My bro and brother-in-law were arguing one time and brother-in-law asked bro why they couldn't do something, and he, in all seriousness, responded, "Because, Nick, that's a loada up and I'm not doing it." It was hilarious. Red shoes, no knickers. My mom said this, that there's an implication women wearing red shoes weren't wearing any undies. Still haven't met anyone who has ever heard of it. Mum used to say she's all fur coat and no knickers. Meaning, I think, acts posh but is really a tart. I think that usage is more common, but my mum also uses the phrase to describe someone that acts like they're wealthier than they are. You got goats. My family's way of saying you had a wedgie, because it looked like there was a goat in your crack eating your pants. Quite embarrassing when I found out that wasn't a common phrase. That's funny. My dad would ask if your ass was hungry and follow it up with pointing out that it was eating your pants. My dad would ask if I was going to the movies, because I was picking my seat. Once I was having discomfort from my underwear and wouldn't stop tugging at them, and my dad asked me if I was wearing cheap hotel pants. I'm like, WTF? And he's like, yeah, there's no ballroom. If we were having a hard time doing a puzzle or something, Mom would tell us you got to hold your teeth right. Whenever she bought us presents, they came from the get-in place. Oh hey, we had a get-in place too. Haven't heard that phrase in a while. I think once I started getting more specific about what gifts I wanted, my mom stopped using it, so that brings me back. My mom would say you need to hold your tongue just right if you were working on something fiddly. When something new turned up and we'd ask my dad where it came from, his reply was always stole it from a blind man down on the corner. Secretly, there is now a blind man who can't seem to remember where his stuff is and thinks he's going insane. Or he's now super paranoid of thieves. Growing up with an Asian mom that was working on perfecting her English, she would often say, "Aw, that is the suck," instead of, "You know, that sucks." Didn't take long for us to catch on and correct her, but it was so funny we just kind of stuck to it. So when something is crafty now, I'll instinctively say in my head, "Well, that is the suck." I had an Indian chemistry teacher in high school who would try to get a rowdy class to settle down by saying, "We don't want the clowns to come around." What he meant was, "Stop clowning around, you little buttholes." Crap, I'd probably settle right down if I heard that. I'm not taking chances. Clowning around, it lies in the playground, as still as before, a porcelain face in the dust of the floor, a spatter of red from the curl of a smile, a shape in the silence, and after a while, you look from the window to see if it's there, you look for the hue of the tangerine hair, you look for the blue of its garb and its guise, the whites of its cheeks and the blacks of its eyes. But what does it matter? What is it you hear? The carnival music that plays in your ear? The gurgle of laughter from somewhere behind? The voices that speak in your mind? Don't show them your worry. Don't show them your fear. We don't want the clowns to come looking, my dear. This is both unsettling and amazing. Send in the clowns. Oh no. Don't worry, they're here. Oh, this is a great place to put this story. Sorry for format. Growing up, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and for years and years and years I always heard my grandpa calling my grandma Dingwa. I thought maybe it was a made-up pet name for her. Cue me in my freshman political science class when I'm 19 years old learning about the Vietnamese War. We went over a lot of vocabulary words and one pops up I recognize, Dingwa. It means telephone in Vietnamese. So my whole childhood I thought my grandpa was calling my grandma some cute nickname when in reality he was telling her the phone was ringing. My Vietnamese teacher says that's very savaging. To an intense moment. One time I told her that I don't think we say the word savaging, but I decided that it actually sounds pretty cool and now I say it. I had a Vietnamese customer that used to say too many confusion when he didn't understand something. That was like 10 years ago and I still say it when I'm stressed at work. It might not be correct syntax, but gosh darn it if the message isn't spot on. I love hearing strange turns of phrase from people who are still learning English. Wrong syntax can convey nuanced meaning so much more effectively than a proper phrasing. That's so cute. My mom's friend says popular items are selling like cupcakes instead of selling like hot cakes. This reminds me of my friend Salim from college. He's from South Korea and he sometimes struggled with idioms or other non-standard phrases. I used to say I call shenanigans on that, picked it up from South Park I think, and he, in turn, picked it up from me. Except he said I call that shenanigans, which always made me laugh. Had a boss from Armenia that would say, "That's bad in the ass," when anything was badass or otherwise bad effing ass, but obviously not bad, in the ass. My nan and mum would always say "You're nosy for a cabbage," when I would try to ask about stuff that wasn't my business. Not sure if it's unique to us, but I've never heard anyone else say it. In France, children are not brought by the storks, but found on the cabbage fields. The kids usually get called little cabbages, ma petite chou. Sorry, my French is a lot rusty, and I don't know the gender of nouns anymore. It can be that your family saying is based on this. Do you have French ancestry, or live in an area where French ancestry is common, or the language is spoken regularly? The fact that you have to explain this makes me wonder if kids these days have never heard of Cabbage Patch Kids. I had to Google Cabbage Patch Kids, but in French they were called bouchou, which literally translate to small cabbage but is often used to designate toddlers. Another word related to cabbage is chouchou, that means favorite, as in, "C'est ma fille chouchou," or "This is my favorite daughter." I like to interpret this as they are calling you a cabbage that is nosier than other cabbages. My mum used to say because of the cabbages if we kept asking why a bunch of times like kids do. I'm sure this is actually super common, but it comes from my great-grandma. She only spoke Hungarian, and what little English she did know were translations of her favorite Hungarian swears. She would often call people, especially my father, bitch bastard in both languages. It's stuck in most of my family on that side refer to each other as bitch bastards, which does cover most bases. This is really funny. I wonder what was the original Hungarian phrase. Could it be kurvafi or karafi? I'm so annoyed at myself for not being able to figure this out, as a native Hungarian speaker. Karafi is closest I've come, but it's not quite a bastard, it's just son of a bitch. I can't believe I don't know where this is coming from. She's got an butt like a harvest frog. From my Irish granddad. I still don't know what it means, though I do know it wasn't a compliment. Ever seen a frog from the back, stretched out longwise? I actually laughed out loud at this. I think Jeff Foxworthy had a sketch about old men having frog butts and no butts because they done scratched it off. You ever seen an old man's ass? Course not, he's scratched it all off. My favorite one like that is she'd tear up the floorboards looking for a bit of pipe. What does that mean? Whenever I didn't like something, my dad would say, "Well, it likes you." It called the other day and said so. It could be anything: broccoli, a hamburger, the neighbor's cat. Whatever I didn't like or want to try, he had always gotten a call. My dad did the same thing. If I said I didn't like mushrooms, for example, he'd say, "Well, I've never heard them say a bad thing about you." I like this version, too. I think that's the cooler version, because it implies the same thing without actually being a lie. Smarter phrasing. This is my favorite in the whole thread. My dad doesn't swear, so he always uses the word suck. What the suck is going on here? You're all sucked up. It would always make me and my friends laugh. He also uses the word bunghole. That guy's a real bunghole. He has a ton of other phrases I can't think of right now. Is your dad's name Ned? I'm rereading The Dome right now, and the fact that the bad guy refuses to say any swear words while being a huge son of 1,000 dogs will always make me laugh. Haha, my husband does that when he's singing along with rap songs. It sounds so ridiculous, but I think he finds it amusing since he does occasionally curse. Mom, you'd never notice on a galloping horse. No one really looks closely at you. In my house, the equivalent was a blind man running for a bus would be pleased to see it. My boyfriend thought this was unique to his family too, but it's a real phrase. A man on a galloping horse wouldn't notice is his mom's version. A guy I worked with for years always says can't see it from the courthouse when working on something not requiring much precision. Akin to my dad's use of good enough for government work and good enough for the girls I go with. The latter was typically followed by "Don't tell your mother I said that." Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.